Okay, I believe we are live. Your eyes, well, they're not playing tricks on you. I am, in fact, here alone today, except I'm not really alone. I'm not really alone. Hey, come here. I brought a special friend in who you have not met yet, technically. Lisa does not know that I've done this. Hey, where are you doing? Come here. Come here. Say hi. Come here. Come here. Come here. Say hi to everybody. Oh. There we go. There we are. So, this is Reacher. I have talked about her extensively on this channel. And since I'm here alone today doing the stream, I thought it would be fun to bring her along. And I really, really hope that that doesn't turn out to be a catastrophic mistake. So far, she's been good. Okay. And we'll see how that goes. But there we go. This is Reacher. Yes, she is named after that Reacher. I know that's a boy name, but she was a roamer. If you don't know the story, this dog adopted Lisa and I a while back, and she hasn't left since. Well, she did leave one time. I had to go to my neighbor's and pick her up, but she is an absolute sweetheart, and we adore her. And she's probably, and I'm not exaggerating, the most affectionate dog I've ever experienced, and affectionate to a fault, actually. Hey, you get away from that door. Now she's going to want to talk trash to the cats because they are on the other side of the door. Hey, yeah, this might turn out to be a huge mistake, but we'll see. Reacher, come here. So I am here solo tonight. Yeah, Carl's going to stick his paw right under that door, and you're going to regret being over there. Lisa is unfortunately under the weather. Kinda, not. It's hard to explain. Everything's good, but she was not able to do the stream tonight. I don't know if she's going to show up in the stream. I don't know if she's already been in the chat. Perhaps she has, but she probably will be when she remembers that this is happening tonight. I think she's still kind of getting used to the whole 7 o'clock thing. And I think that's the excuse that she uses. Hey. Oh, she's being good. She's staring under the door because the cats are on the other side of the door. That is one of the negatives about that dog is she will chase a cat. It's a struggle. Speaking of cats, we have a new funny thing that's happening on our property right now. I have a grill in my backyard on my back patio, and I have a pizza oven on top of the grill. Lisa doesn't let me cook on the grill anymore. She's really mean, and she doesn't let me do that anymore. So I put the pizza oven on top of that. I still haven't been able to figure out how to get the pizza oven to make good pizza in the pizza oven. But anyway, it's made it the perfect height to where one of our outdoor cats can get on top of the pizza oven and then jump up onto the roof and explore all through the roof on our house. And it's quite entertaining to see him do that. He just goes up there and hangs out, lays down at the peak, and he's an idiot, but that's what he does. So yeah, there's been some fun shenanigans happening with animals the last few days. Hope everybody around me was able to get through the tragic storm that happened yesterday. I shouldn't have joked around about it like that because it may have been tragic in some places, but we were preparing for a massive storm yesterday, and we got a little bit of wind, and that was it. I got 3.2 million sticks to clean up. I think that's the last I counted, 3.2 million sticks that have to be cleaned up. Other than that, No harm, no foul. My dog was dumped at my house. They didn't even stop their vehicle. He's been mine ever since. Yeah, my Reacher is, her name was Princess. She belonged to one of the workers that works the farms in this area. And that guy had 2 dogs, and Reacher was one of them, and everything was fine. He lived in a house, and the dog was allowed in the house, but then he had to move. And when he moved, the new place that he moved into didn't allow dogs. So rather than figure out what to do next, he was just like, all right, we'll just go on. That's how he handled that. And him and I had words one day. I said the F word to him a few times. He's not my friend. He doesn't like me very much. But, I walked away basically saying, it's my dog now, and her name's Reacher, not Princess. Shove it up your ass. So, okay, I'm dramatizing it a little bit. I didn't tell him to shove it up his ass, but I did tell him her name's not Princess anymore. It's Reacher. Anyway, it wasn't a very pleasant thing. And the weird thing is, all of the other farm employees were around. And I think if things would have popped off between me and him, I think they would have had my back, not his. Because they were basically telling me, yeah, don't let that dog go back home with him. So they were on my side when it comes to that. So she wandered onto our property a bunch of times with that other dog, probably 10 times. They would come by every day or so. It was a little Chihuahua that she had with her. And that dog just vanished. Scares me because I have 2 Chihuahuas. Who knows what happened with that dog? Could have gotten hit by a car. Could have gotten picked up by a bird. I don't know. Coyote. But that dog is nowhere to be found. And this is going to sound horrible, but it's probably a good thing that Reacher came to us by herself, because ain't no way in the world Lisa would have accepted 2 more, especially another Chihuahua. She's not the biggest fan of my Chihuahuas. But anyway, I do have some cool things to talk about here today. Just kind of on a whim, when I found out that I was going to be doing this on my own, I was like, well, shoot, what am I going to talk about? And I thought, big tanks. Big tanks are a good thing to talk about because, well, I have some. And I got some things that are going to be happening very soon with these. And so I thought it'd be fun to talk about it. My wife refuses to let a Chihuahua in our house. Yeah, the funny thing is, one of my Chihuahuas is hers. It's interesting how that works, isn't it? Let me do this real quick. Let me thank Mike Laird, Frank Julian, and Rob Douglas for, it looks like, becoming brand new members tonight. No, Rob Douglas, you are a re-up, but thank you nonetheless. And Marine Josh, I'm going bald, but if I look half as good as you, I think I'll be okay. Hey, listen, you just got to embrace it. It's 2025. When I first started losing my hair was in the early 90s, and I was humiliated by it because there wasn't bald people walking around back then. Steve Austin hadn't become popular yet, and Bill Goldberg. So I was terrified of that. But I think it was 2010. I finally bicked it, and I haven't gone back since. It's been wonderful. How big is your aquarium behind you? Well, we're going to get to that, because I think I need to define, when we have our conversation, which I would like for you to participate in this conversation tonight, not just the person who asked how big that tank is, Hyper Go Stunts, everybody. I'd love to hear your input in this. Going to need your help tonight because I'm going at this alone. Join the No Comb Over Club. Yeah, not going to do the comb over. There's a very important person in our country that has a lot of hair with a massive comb over. I think we all know who I'm talking about. And I will not do that. If I let my hair grow, I mean, you can see it. It would be all the way back here. I would look ridiculous. I'd look like Stephen Wright, I believe that comedian's name, one of the funniest comedians ever. It would just look terrible on me. I'm not saying people that have their hair back to here they all look really bad. I'm saying I would look really bad because it's all the way back here. It would be all gray and it would be bush curly. No. When I worked at the U.S. Capitol as a police officer, there was a congressman up there. He might still be up there. I don't know. Worst comb over I've ever seen in my life. Everybody that looked at that man knew it was a comb over. I swear to you, it started way back here and you could see it pulled up over. It was horrifying. I'm not going to do that. Hey, if you have to, the bozo look, exactly. If you're so terrified of being bald and you go with that comb over, hey, good for you. But proud member of the Chrome Dome Club. Yeah. You know what? All I needed to hear in 2010 was that Lisa liked that idea. And I said, okay, I swear it was like 2:00 in the afternoon. I went upstairs and shaved it off right then and there. So my ex-wife, who shall not be named, was not a fan of that idea. She would rather me have it back here than shave it off. And I always thought that was ridiculous. I was like, look at Bill Goldberg. Look how cool he looks. Look how cool Stone Cold looks. No, didn't work. So before I reveal to the 3 people watching this that don't know what size this tank is behind me, I think we need to define what a big tank is. Because I think a lot of people will have a different definition of what a huge tank is or what a big tank is. What did I title this stream? Huge aquariums. Are they worth the hassle? What do we consider a huge tank? What do you consider a huge tank? Me, I know what I consider to be a huge tank. I think it needs to be 240 gallons or more. Some of you may hear that and think, well, that's ridiculous. I have 125 and it's huge. Yeah, that's a big tank. It's a good size tank. But huge? Not anymore. I remember the first time I ever saw a 6-foot tank in someone's home. If you recall the story that I've told 786 times, my boss that got me into fish keeping unintentionally, he had a 180, which is 6 by 2 by 2. I helped him carry that sumbitch in the house. It was not fun. To me, back then, that was like, are you even allowed to have something this big in the house? Like, this is insane. Like, are your neighbors going to die if this thing leaks? Like, the whole neighborhood's going to flood. Like, to me, that was the biggest thing I'd ever seen. That's what she said. But now you can buy a 180 at a Petco. I mean, so I think 180 might be a little stretch, but I think if it's a tank that you can go and buy off of the store floor, it's not a huge tank. And that would actually take 240s out of it, because I know Aquariums Unlimited, last time I was up there, he had a 240. So maybe, 240 I think is right at that line. 240 is huge. If you have a 240 gallon in your living room where you watch TV, that's the biggest thing in your room. So yeah, but a 150, it's big, but it's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not massive. Like, there are TVs that are that big now that are at Walmart for $3.99. I mean, so I think we need to be talking about 240 and over. But this one here, the reason why we're talking about this topic, 360. It is 8 feet long, 3 feet front to back, and 2 feet tall. It's a big one, and it's a bastard when you have to do really anything to it. I'm cursing a lot tonight, and I apologize, but welcome to my world. I don't have Lisa sitting across the table at me, looking at me with the stink eye when I say those words. But the biggest thing, and I think it applies to this conversation, the biggest thing that makes it a hassle is whenever you're going to do anything with a huge tank, and I would put this in the category of huge. What are you doing? Hey. It's a big deal. It's a big thing. If you're going to do a water change, are you doing a 50% water change? That's 180 gallons in this thing. If you're going to do a gravel vac, that's 8 feet by 3 feet by 2 inches thick sand and gravel mixed together. That's a big gravel vac. You're going to paint the background. That's a lot. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that you do with a tank like this is bigger. The fish are almost always going to be bigger, because if not, you would have to have so many in there. Like, can you imagine if all I had in that tank were like rummy nose? I'd have to have 300 of them in there for it to be anything spectacular. So everything is escalated. Everything is bigger. Everything is more exaggerated. The filtration is bigger, much bigger heaters. If you're going to put circulation pumps in there, the little ones that you would put in your 55 gallon, they ain't going to do nothing in that tank. You need the big dogs, which I have one. It's not running. You see that bastard sitting on the ground right there. I still haven't taken it out because I'm stupid. I have another one. You can't. Well, you can. It's right here. That's the biggest circulation pump that CJ has. It's huge. It's like the size of a lunchbox. So with big tanks, everything's exaggerated. And the biggest thing that's exaggerated too, the one that's the most impact on a home, is the weight of a tank this size, or a 240, or even bigger. We've got 2 tanks, 300 gallons or larger, and then we've got 3 240s. Can you imagine how much weight that is? Somebody could probably calculate it pretty easily. That's a lot. So most likely, unless you live on a slab house, which a lot of people do, you're not going to put something like this in your living room. And if you do, good Lord, what else is going to be in there? You have that and a recliner, and I guess that's all you really need. Weighs like an SUV. Yeah, I mean, it's like it is a Volkswagen parked right here. That is another thing that complicates everything. Case in point, you see that? Yeah. Did a little investigating, because if you recall, if you've ever heard me talk about that, I have said multiple times, tank's level. I don't know why it's doing that. It's weird. I called up Mark Beavers at Custom Aquariums. He is the man. He has sat in this seat right here with me on the live stream. What was that, 2 years ago? Great dude. Anytime there's anything having to do with Custom Aquariums, he's the guy I call. And I called him the other day with my plan of what I plan on doing with this. And it's bothering me now that you can see that pump and I'm not using it, so I like to keep it hidden. I called him up because I was confused. I was like, dude, it's weird. This right here, y'all can see it. You normally can't see it if it's Lisa and I, if she's on the other camera and it looks, it's not on, where her and I are side by side with each other. That gets cut off because I moved my camera over a little bit so you don't see it. But now with it just being me, you see that Crab is up there playing in it right now. That it's quite obvious what's causing that. It is that the tank's not level, or there's a water flow issue that's causing it to be unbalanced like that. Excuse me. She's back behind the tanks. Here's the weird thing about that. Probably a year ago, I came in here. I don't know if I came in here to do a live stream or I just walked in here for whatever reason. It was gone. So that told me, well, okay, then it's a flow issue. There's something in here going on that's causing the water to drop in that area. Water's being pulled from this area. It was wishful thinking, I know. And so I asked Mark about that. Loke Newkirk, thank you. $5, nothing attached to it. Just here, take money. I like you talking about the water and all of that. Take money. Here's money. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. It disappeared. No rhyme or reason whatsoever. In fact, I think I even talked about it on a live stream one time. I was like, look, it's gone. I don't know. Didn't do anything. And so I thought maybe I had moved something around. I mean, maybe I don't know. It's doing a water change and maybe one of the hoses got moved and it was sending water a different direction. So I called Mark and I said, okay, listen, I'm talking Mark Beavers, not Mark from Aquariums Unlimited. Mark Beavers at Custom Aquariums. And I said, have you ever heard of anything like this? Have you ever heard of a scenario where you have that and then it just goes away? And he's like, well, yeah, but normally there's something really obvious, like a big circulation pump right there. I just put that in like a month ago. So this has been there all along. But he said, unless there's been something major that's happened, and it's usually not just in one area, it's usually all the way across that would be affected that way. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll start doing some investigating. And I put a level on it yesterday, and oh yeah, it's very much not level. And it's weird. Last time I put a level on it, it was level, but I don't know. I was probably in a hurry or something. There's little bolts up on the top that hold the frame on. Maybe the level was sitting on the bolt and made it look level. I don't know. But I put the level on it. In fact, the level's still sitting right there, 4-foot level, and it is very clearly not level. So here's my plan. I am going to build a bridge. Now, I talked about this. I think I talked about it in last week's stream, or maybe the one before that. Who cares? I'm going to mention it again briefly, but there's a reason why I'm talking about this. I'm going to build basically a 3-piece. I'm going to build it out of a 6x6, where there'll be a small piece sitting on the ground vertically on the front and the back of the tank. And then I'm going to run a beam across out of another 2x6 and put 2 bottle jacks on top of that. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because this is sitting on a metal frame. It's all empty under there. The sump is under there. So come here. Come on. Say hi to everybody. It's fine. So there's no way to get any kind of leverage on it to pick it up. And unless I had 8 dudes here, all with really good backs, there would be no way to lift this thing as mere humans. So that's how I'm going to do it. I can't do it with just one jack because where are you going to put it? With the bottom being hollow, there's a floor to this stand. You're a mess. There's a floor to it. So it has to be done that way. Now your nails are sharp. It hurts. So I'm going to build that little T or little bridge. I'm going to you're going to show my private. And then I'm going to put 2 bottle jacks on it. I have one already. I'm going to have to go buy another one. I'm just going to Harbor Freight the second one. The one I have now is a 20-ton, which means it'll lift 40,000 pounds. So it would basically lift this building if I needed it to. And that's what it's for. It's for jacking up a house, which I'm going to have to do to my house eventually. A staircase I have that's leaning. I'm going to have to lift it up on one side. Follow the Money Pit channel if you want to see that adventure coming up in the next future sometime. I don't know. So I already have that bottle jack for that. I bought the bottle jack when we were doing this building. But I'm going to have one on the front, one on the back. Each one is going to be sitting on one of the top rails of the stand. And then I'll have Lisa in the back Don't be weird. And then me in the front, and we'll at the same time, we'll jack it up. And obviously I'm going to completely drain the tank, take the fish out, put them somewhere, probably in one of those Rubbermaid stock tanks. We got one sitting out on the porch. They'll probably be in there for a couple hours. Now, to me, the plan makes total sense. It'll take the whole project will take probably 30 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's a pretty damn big deal. And it's not 30 minutes. I got to drain the entire tank. I got to do something with the fish. I'm not going to take the substrate out. I think that would be overkill. So it is a big thing. But once the tank is empty and the fish are safe, the process of jacking up one side of the tank, putting shims under it, he did recommend, and I think it's a smart recommendation, to use composite shims rather than wood, because wood can squish. I think that's very smart. So that's what I'm going to do. But I got other things that need to be done on that tank. And I look at it like the game Clash of Clans. This is how I'm making my plan for this tank. I don't know if you're familiar with Clash of Clans. I haven't played that game in a very long time, but it used to be very popular. You're building this little town, and the goal is to upgrade your troops and upgrade your town hall and all of this. But in order to upgrade your town hall, you have to upgrade this and you have to upgrade that. And you have to upgrade all of these individual things to a certain level before you can qualify to upgrade your town hall. Well, it's the same thing here. It's like, I got to do this, but before I do that, I need to do this other thing first. And then I can't do the last thing I want to do until the first two things are done. So it's like, you know what? I'm not going to do any of it until I have everything I need to do it all. What is all? I've talked about this before. I hope you're not upset about me just repeating myself here, but I do have a really, really nice background coming in from Aqua Decor. In fact, let me see if I can find it here. I'm going to show it to you. Y'all watching the stream tonight are going to get an exclusive that I haven't been told I can't show. I don't know why it would be an issue. They want their products shown as much as possible. So Aqua Decor, it's my first time working with them. I reached out to them, what was it, maybe a month ago? And I said, hey, got this idea for my 360. Wonder if you wanted to do something. And they said, yeah, absolutely we do. And I didn't realize what they were going to do. So they basically took my ideas and I sent them a video of one of their videos. And I said, I really like this. My tank is 96 by 36 by 24. So, if you want to do something, I'm not picky, whatever you want to do. Well, they ended up having like one of their designers put together. I hope something weird doesn't happen here. This. Look at that. I'm going to put myself on here, but for some reason I'm not popping up. Look at that. Are you kidding me? That is what is on the way to me as we speak. And the really, really cool thing about it is that it is, I'm only going to show it that long. That is a product that's made to go into a tank that's already full. A lot of times with 3D backgrounds, you need to drain the tank and you need to silicone that bad boy in. Otherwise, it's going to float. It's going to do all that. I wish you could see Reacher right now. She's sprawled out underneath me. It's adorable. And it's not difficult, certainly worth it. but you would need to, silicone the background in to make sure it doesn't float up out of there or come away from the wall and then fish end up getting stuck behind it and all that. With the Aqua Decor, with this particular line from Aqua Decor, you can just stick it right in there. It's got suction cups, put it on the back, you're good to go. I love that. I love that about it. Really cool for ease of installation, but also if I want to take it out to clean the glass, it's hard to clean the glass around it and stuff like that. I like that. I like that about it a lot. So when I saw that, I reached out to them, which I don't usually like to do. They were all over it, and they put that design together for me, and they said it's going to be leaving. They sent me that, I think, late last week. They said it's going to be leaving. Should be this week. But I know, I'm not even certain where they are, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe it says it on the email. They are not in the United States, but I'm not certain. Serbia. Yeah. So it's got some traveling to do before it's able to get here. So at least, no, wait a minute. Yeah. No, hold on. Yeah. I was going to say, no, it's definitely not. I was going to say the person I'm emailing with was not named Serbia, wasn't? I didn't say it wrong. So yeah, it's going to take a bit to get here. And I'm okay with that. I'm not in a hurry to do anything. I told them whenever. So I don't want to do a major project on this if I can't do all of them. So I'm going to do that leveling of the tank and put the new background in. Probably do a giant maintenance at the same time. And there's another project too. And this one is cool. And I'm going to make a point here when it comes to the huge tank being a hassle thing. When all of that is done and the tank is level, then I can build my cabinet to encase this stand and make it look really super nice, make it look formal, and make a video all about that too. So there's a lot of things that are going to happen. But the point that I'm trying to make is these are all major, major things. Now, the background, not so much. I mean, if the background was the only thing I was doing, that's an afternoon project. It's fun. It's not that big of a deal. And you don't even have to take the water out. You just put it in there, pop them suction cups on the back, and you're done. It's kind of a pain in the butt because this is 3 feet deep and you don't realize how 3 feet front to back is what I'm talking about. You don't realize how far that is until you need to get into the tank to do something. And I really do think that it'd be a lot easier to not have to contend with the water, to get in there and really put it in there nicely. So that's my plan, is to put that in when I have it drained to do the leveling. So one project feeds the next. And obviously, if it's not level, if I built a stand to cover that, I'd be building a stand on an aquarium that's not level. It would just look like something that should be in Whoville. I'm not going to do that. So gotta wait to do all three of these things. The leveling first, the background, and then the cabinet. But to build I keep calling it a cabinet. It's really a facade of a cabinet. That's a major, major project. There's no way. I mean, I'm a good woodworker. I'm not going to get that thing built in one day. At least I don't think. I mean, that's a big project. It's an 8-foot wide cabinet face frame, basically, is what that is. And then to build the doors for it and stuff like that, it's a major project. So that's probably a several days to get that made, sanded, painted, get the doors dialed in and all that. It's a big, big project. Everything is bigger when you have huge tanks. Maintenance is bigger. Your food bill's bigger because you're always going to have a lot of fish in there. And when I say maintenance is bigger, it's more water, it's more time, it's more possible water all over your floor. And on that note, the other thing that can be a huge pain in the you-know-what is when you do have any kind of an issue. You want an example? I've got one for you. I only have one complaint about one of my sumps. And that is the sump that I have on my saltwater tank. Now, oh, that's not going to be pleasant. Reacher, hey, excuse me. No, let's not do that. She's chewing on a pen. I have to get this from her. You're going to put ink all over the place, and then I'm going to get in trouble for having you in here? She was chewing on this. You can say hi to everybody, but you're not getting this back. I'm sorry. Hey, you make me look like a jerk. You make me look like I'm so mean. I'm not. I'm not mean. This dog right here. I have to go off on a little dog tangent here. I've never had a dog that wants to please me as much as that one. And I attribute it to her being grateful that we brought her in. I really think she knows that. And I think that she appreciates it. It's a beautiful thing. The sump that I have in my saltwater tank, and this is not the sump's fault. This is my fault because it just is what it is. The water comes down from the the overflows. It goes down through flexible hoses into the sump. Where it lands in the sump, there are two 8-inch wide filter socks, ones that are like that tall. And it's great. They go right into the filter socks, filters all of those fine particles out of there. It goes the rest of the way through the sump. It goes through a little refugium. It does not refugium, but the saltwater version of a refugium where you grow all the algae in and stuff like that. I forget what that's called. Maybe it's also called a refugium. And then it goes into the sump where it gets pumped back out. If those filter socks get clogged, the water just completely overflows. So that's why I say it's not the sump's fault. It's my fault for letting them get clogged. But it happens. And it's like Lisa will tell me the saltwater tank's leaking again. It's not the tank leaking. It's the sump doing that. If this was my living room, oh boy, would I be mad. It's a 240-gallon tank. It's making my point for me. A little thing can be catastrophic when you're talking about the amount of water that a huge tank has with it. I have not had, I am sitting at a desk that is a solid wood top desk. No, I did not build it. I bought it from IKEA. It's a great desk. It's a dining room table, but I use it as a desk. I have two of them. I've never had one of these big tanks actually leak, like the tank burst kind of thing. One of my big tanks, there was a hairpin failure of the silicone in one of the joints, and it was, I swear, a drop every hour. You could watch it, and it would just like this slow form little drop, and it would start to come down, and then it would just it would evaporate before it even came down. But I saw it. I knew it was a problem. I drained it, cut it out, resealed it, did the whole thing. And so it was never a problem again. But again, if I had been lazy and just put some flex tape or something on there and let that thing get worse and pop, 240 gallons worth of water would have been on the floor at our old house. This was in our house in Virginia. And boy, would that have done some damage. That house that we lived in was great. It was the nicest house I've ever lived in my life. It was a mansion. We rented it, so it's not like it was something we could brag about. It People describe my house now as a big house, and I laugh because the house we lived in Virginia was 2,000 square feet bigger than the house that we live in now. It's crazy. The house we live in now has been added on to a bunch of times, so it gives it the impression that it's a big house. It's not. When you're inside of it, it's a normal size house. But from the street, it looks big. But that house that we were in Virginia was insane. I mean, the bedroom, our master bedroom, I swear to you, was as big as this room that I'm in here right now. It was, I think, 24 by 22. And then it had 2 walk-in closets, his and hers. His would have been the one that was clean all the time. Giant bathroom. I mean, absolutely massive. And the basement was entirely finished. I made so many videos down there, did so many live streams down there. It was gorgeous. Like I said, nicest house I've ever lived in. The house I live in now is my favorite, but that other one was way nicer. 5,600 square feet that house was. Insane. But again, we were just renting it. It's not like I can brag that it was, I lived in this, I had this mansion, it was mine. No, it wasn't mine. I was paying to live there. Anyway, the basement was fully finished and it was all ceramic tile, which is great. But even with a ceramic tile floor, if 240 gallons was to have flown through there, it would have been absorbed by the drywall, probably the bottom. It wouldn't have been a foot deep of water, but because it would have been sucked in by the drywall, it probably would have been a foot high, would start to mildew. It would have been an absolute catastrophe. So, but a 55? That sucks. That's a huge mess. But you can grab a shop vac fast and clean that pretty fast before it really does any serious damage. But at 240 gallons, you're talking about a tidal wave going through the house. And 360, forget it. I mean, so everything is exaggerated when it comes to these big tanks. You've got to have bigger lights, bigger heater, bigger filtration, everything. Is it worth it? Of course it is. If that's what you're into. Now, see, the reason why I love these tanks so much and why I'm a big tank guy is because big tanks are something that throughout my entire youth, I never imagined I would ever have. When I started keeping fish in 1993, I started out with 229 gallons, big tanks. Friends would come over, they'd be like, man, those are big. Because they're used to seeing little 5 gallons in little fish bowls and stuff like that. When I got a 55 gallon for the first time, you would have thought I just bought a freaking Bugatti. I mean, I felt like the king of the world. I mean, because like this is big time here. 55 gallons. Are you serious? Like, I'm legit. Like, I'm the real deal here. So when I saw my boss, when I saw his 180, I never thought I was ever going to be able to compare to that. Now, of course, I saw that prior to my 55 and all that. But what I'm saying is, I never thought I would ever be able to touch something like that. So it was one of those things where it was like unobtainable. So now that I can, it's like, you're damn right. I got 5 tanks that are all over 240 gallons. That's not a flex. That's just me kind of living my dream of having these big tanks. Plus, I like fish that do better in bigger tanks. Yeah, I like the little ones too. I like nano tanks. I got a 20 gallon tank that I sit at and look at when I'm taking a dump. I'm sorry, it's sitting right in front of my toilet. I did a whole video about it. I love that tank so much. I love the guppies that are in there and the snails and some people have ordered snails off of our website. And guess what? They're snails that I have stared at before while, I love that tank. The plants are beautiful. It's really doing well. There's snails everywhere. There's shrimp everywhere. It's glorious. I love that. But my thing is the big tanks. So for me, for the kind of fish I like to keep, and because of them being something that I never thought I would ever be able to do, yeah, they're absolutely worth the hassle. I did an episode of the Tank Talk podcast with Jason from Primetime Aquatics, coming up next after me here, where we talked about, we've done 2 episodes like this. One of the episodes was if you could only have one tank for the rest of your life, you know, for whatever reason, you got to downsize your house, you know, whatever it is, and you can only have one, what would it be? And our answers were very different, but mine was a 240. A 240 is in the right size living room, not going to be, well, it's pretty dominating in the room, but if it's a smaller living room or rec room or family room, whatever you want to call them, then yeah, it would probably be quite the dominant feature in that room. But our living room right now is a living room that was made, we didn't do this, but it was made by the previous owner to be a gathering space for friends and family and everybody that comes over. So it's a really big room. I'm not trying to flex or anything. I've never even shown it on this channel or anything like that. It's not like it's this gargantuan thing, but the room in total is 32 feet long by 16 feet wide. I know that because I put the floor in there. So it's a good size room. A 240 could fit in that room, no problem. But the house we lived in 2 houses ago, was it 2 houses? Yeah, 2 houses ago. No way could a 240 fit in there. We had a couch, the TV, and a recliner. And we never even had a aquarium in that room. Not even a 20-gallon or a 10-gallon. What are you chewing on now? She's over a year old, but she's still kind of in the puppy stage. And I don't know if she's ever going to get out of it. So it all depends on what you have, your situation. But what I told Jason in that podcast, if I'm remembering correctly, I would pick a house. I thought about this a lot. I would pick a house that could accommodate a 240 in the living room. We have 5 kids, 4 grandkids. When we get together as a family, there's a lot of people in the room. So that's why our living room that we have now is absolutely perfect. Again, we didn't design it that way. That's just how it came. It's perfect. Everybody can gather in that room and we're not up each other's asses and, you know, it's all fine. So that would be something that I would require so that I could have a 240 on like one end and that'd be all I would need. I don't recall what Jason's was. I don't recall what his, if he could only have one tank, what it would be. But when we did our money is no object and you can have whatever you want, I think the example I gave was Elon Musk decides to give you half of his fortune because he was just feeling good that day. And so you never have to worry about money again. You can do whatever you want with an aquarium. Mine was 24 feet by 8 by 8. So yeah, quite different when there's no money that has to be considered. But I also, for that, did not intend on that being in my living room, quite obviously. In fact, I said I would be building, again, money's no object. I would be building a building. I wouldn't build it. I would have somebody come here and build a building for me, probably 50 by 30, and one entire end would be an aquarium. It would be 24 feet wide. The building would be 30. So there'd be 6 feet to where there could be a staircase that goes up to a platform that goes to the back of the tank for getting over there and feeding the fish and jumping in to clean the algae and putting the scuba gear on. And also, money is no object. There would be a full-time person on staff that would be there to take care of that tank. Kind of like Andrew Sandler has up there in New York. Not Adam Sandler, Andrew Sandler. When you have something like that, that's what you have to do. You have to have a room that's dedicated to just the filtration, which Andrew Sandler has. If you haven't, why am I drawing a blank on his channel name? What an amazing aquarium. The nicest aquarium in anyone's house, dare I say, on the planet. And I can't remember the name of his channel. But unless somebody puts it in chat before I get to it, whenever you type in Sandler, oh no, there he is. Oh, well, that makes sense. Okay. Now, I'm not going to give any, wait a minute. Okay. All right. Sorry. Not going to give this guy's personal business, but, you know, I've always wondered, like, okay, there's more than one, but it's Polo Reef. There's two Andrew Sandlers, by the way. One of them is a very famous music producer. Looks like he even produced Blink-182. Just saying. It's not that one. It's the other Andrew Sandler. And I've always wondered, like, man, obviously that dude's got money. I mean, woo. He talks about it on his channel. It's Polo Reef. Yeah, thank you, Mike. I think probably I'm surprised it took somebody that long. Polo Reef is his channel. When you see that aquarium and you see it in his home, I would recommend watching the tours of it. He shows you the back room. That's all the laboratory thing. And then there's giant pipes that go through the floor and go down into another room. And the sump is actually in a sub basement below the basement because it's so loud. It's, you know, you got to keep it separated like that. And you see that and you're like, that's millions. It has to be millions. And you wonder, I don't know if you're like me, but I wonder, like, where'd that dude's money come from? Like, I'm not going to, I've seen him. I think I've shook his hand a couple times at some of these events, but you know, he's a saltwater guy. I'm a freshwater guy. We've never really talked. I think I have met him a couple times though, but I'm not going to be like, hey dude, how much did that tank cost and how much money do you make every year? You know, I'm not going to do that, but you know, obviously with a tank like that, you are, you know, you're a 1%er. I mean, you're a guy that has, done really well. And he obviously has, and it shows. I mean, that aquarium is, like I said, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a private aquarium that's even close to that. And Brent Russell, I saw what you said, and you were right. What's happening here? Let me get to this real quick. Go to my dashboard and go to, get started for these giveaways. All right. I'm going to do a giveaway here shortly. The way you qualify for that giveaway, just say something in the chat. What am I giving away? I think it was Brent Russell that said that, wasn't it? I think somebody said, turn Nightbot on, get a head start. If it wasn't Brent Russell, whoever it was that said that, thank you. Since we're talking about big tanks and we're talking about big fish that would go in big tanks, giving away, you see them, right? 2 bags of fish food. This one doesn't count, but you're going to get this one too. But the reason why I'm saying this one doesn't count, this one is expired December 24th. Or excuse me, December of 2024. But I'm going to send this anyway. Why? because it's still good. It's still completely sealed. There's nothing wrong with it. If you feel like that's a problem, then just throw it away. But I'm going to make it your problem now. But no, in all seriousness, the reason why I have this is because when that bag, you see that bag right there? That's a 500 gram sent courtesy of Northfin. They supply us with our food to feed our fish. It's amazing. I love them. When that was empty, I was going to crack this open and I was going to use it for myself. I wasn't going to eat it, but I was going to feed it to the Oscars. So, but I'll go ahead and give it to you along with a bag of arowana. And I was looking for, for the date on this one. Doesn't have it. Nope, 6/27. So you got plenty of time for this one. And this one, also June of 27th, jumbo fish. This one is the 4 millimeter. This is not frontosa food. That's just a beautiful frontosa on the bag. And this is also, I've talked with Darius, the owner of Northfin, about this a couple of times. This is also not arowana food. It's perfect for arowanas because it's floating. It's a large stick. It's perfect for arowanas. But this is great for any of your larger fish that you want to feed. I feed this to my Oscars. The bikers don't really get it because it floats. This is an amazing food for any top feeders that are larger fish. Arowana, this food's manufactured in Toronto, Canada. These fish right here, you know, the Holy Grail fish, you can get those in Canada. So arowanas, the real arowanas, I love silvers, but the real arowanas, the Asians, you can get those in Canada. They're much more popular in Canada than they are here. Joey, still jealous. Never let him forget, and he never lets me forget that he has an Asian arowana. They're a lot more popular in Canada, so they made this with the arowana on it, but it's not just for arowanas. Just like this is certainly not just for frontosas, and this is not just for the Midas and whatever that one is. But this one's actually called arowana. So when we do the giveaway in the coming minutes, all 3 of these bags are coming to you as long as you live in the United States and as long as you're nice to me. Nightbot will randomly pick someone who is very nice to me, and that person will win this. Only one person. You know, Lisa's the one that usually handles the giveaways. She makes the decision of what we're giving away. She does all of that. But she's not here. And has she shown up in the chat yet? She might be working on a video herself. I don't know. I'm going to text her. I haven't seen her pop up, but then again, I've tried not to look at the chat too much because then I get way too distracted. She might be like, oh man, I forgot. I'm nice and I'm a repeat customer. Rev Coon, you know what? You might be the one that gets picked. What I'm going to tell you is I don't do the picking. Nightbot is the one that does the picking. I am particular about that. It is the software picks somebody that is random, that's active in the chat. Active means saying anything on there. Smuggling Northfin across the border. Reacher, what do you have? Oh, you're going to get in so much trouble. It's just a little piece of driftwood. It's just little, Lisa. Don't panic. It's fine. You're going to be in big trouble. And you're going to get me in trouble. Come here. It's the only way you're not going to get in trouble is if you get up here. Then you will stay out of trouble. She's a big girl. But she's certainly not fat, though. Look at the camera and say hi to everybody. Her ears, when they perk up, are the cutest ears because this one stays bent But then this one goes up. It's the cutest. Hey, I know you don't want to be sitting here right now, but I'm going to keep you here because people want to see you. And if you're sitting here with me, that means you're not getting in trouble. Okay, fine. She wants to go get that piece of wood again. She really is the sweetest dog. She does something that's I love so much. I still walk her. We have not integrated her with the other dogs yet, and it makes me very sad. But it will happen very soon. There's been a lot of reasons for that. And so she has the full free reign of the whole barn, inside and in the back and everything else. The barn is basically hers, and we have 2 cats out there too. So I go out there 5-6 times a day and I walk her around my entire property. When we walk on the street, she has a tendency of chasing cars or trucks. If it's a white pickup truck, it's a guarantee she is going to run down the road and chase that. So because of that, I have to keep her on a leash. If it wasn't for that, she would walk right next to me and it would be fine. But you know, she's a roamer. She's a drifter. She likes to go off. And so she will be on this leash, which is one of the 25 footers. And it will be, oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tease you. She thinks I'm taking her now. I'm sorry. That was really mean of me. I was just showing everybody. It's always fully extended when I'm walking her. And she's exploring and doing her whole thing. But if she sees a car all the way down at the end of the road, I live on a really long road, and she sees those headlights, she will immediately turn around, come over to me, and lay down right next to me. It's the best thing in the world. And it's almost like she's like, I don't want to get in trouble. And she lays right next to me, and it's beautiful. Like, my other 3 dogs would be like, what? Like, they'd probably make fun of her for doing that because they're like, we do whatever we want to do. This one, she does that. And I love it because there's been a couple of times before she started doing that. And I think I've never hit her or anything like that, but I think I got so mad at her the last time she did it, and she knew that. And so she stopped. But she has this thing that she does. It's this move, and she's so smart. She knows how to take her head and go like this and get herself right out of her leash and just take off. Bless you. And so she did that one time. I didn't realize she knew how to do that, how to break out of the leash. Not the leash, but her collar. She actually wiggles her head out of the collar and she takes off down the road. So the last time she chased a car, she did that. And she ran after the car, and the car stopped, and it was good because she was like side by side with that car. It could have been disastrous. The guy stopped. He was really cool about it. And I yelled at her, and I was so mad at her, and she's never done it again ever since then. So it's great. Would she do that if there was a cat? Maybe. But she doesn't do that to chase cars anymore. That's where a harness comes in. Yeah, I know. But I'm hoping to not have to do that. We actually have a fenced in area in our backyard for our 3 dogs. And that's where she will be too. But not yet. What's the biggest tank we have? That's this one. It's 360, 8 by 3 by 2. Put a harness on her. Collars are bad. I mean, collars aren't bad, but I'm not going to do that. Hey, because this is a temporary thing. The collar is always going to stay on her, but it's not an issue. I mean, I don't have to jerk her around or anything like that. She's really good on the leash, but still haven't figured out how we're going to get her to be friends with the other dogs now, because they yell at her, and then when they yell at her, she yells back, and she's twice the size of all of them. So I don't know. We're going to have to see. But cats are a problem. She's a wild dog. I mean, 3 months ago, she was roaming the streets. So there's that. I need to do this real quick. Brent Russell, thank you for donating a membership. Very nice of you. And then also making me aware of getting Dartbot active. Leo's Aquariums and Reptiles. Perfect size tank for a group of... See, you keep doing it. Leo, this is intentional now. Leo does this on purpose. He's like, John hates scientific names, so I'm going to use the most obscure scientific name of a fish that no one's ever heard of, and then I'm going to ask him how many I can get because I know that's his least favorite question. And Chindongo Salusai. So I know African Salusai, that's how I've always said it. I'm assuming that's the same thing. Chindongo, is that a particular collection location on the map or on the lake? If we're talking, Leo, about the Mbunas, I'm always going to go 125. Because you said perfect. You didn't say, Leo, what's the minimum? You said, what's the perfect? And the answer is 125. And I hate the fact that your Redskins are better than my Cowboys. Jaden Daniels is him. Yeah, well, first of all, I happen to know you don't live in the state of Texas. So shame on you for betraying your home state. You got the choice of 3 football teams. Well, no, it's only 2 now, right? No. Every once in a while, it's 3. I don't know. Who cares? You've got teams that are really good. One of them, anyway. Okay, listen. Leo lives in California. That's not doxing him. So you got the Rams, the 49ers, and I was going to say the Raiders, but they're not there anymore. Shame on you for being a Cowboy fan. You should be ashamed of yourself. All due respect to your parents, Leo, they failed you by allowing you to be a Cowboy fan. And if they if they raised you as a Cowboy fan, well, that's even worse. As a lifelong Redskins fan, Leo, you knew I was going to say that, right? That's not offensive. You knew that. But no. So here's something funny that pertains to Leo's comment there. Silly Cowboy fans. We order from a company called Uline. Everybody's heard them. We get our boxes from them. And we get boxes from them at least every 2 weeks. And the driver is the same guy. His name's Monte. He's awesome. He's the same guy every time that delivers these. And he's a Cowboy fan. He was raised in Atlanta, I believe. I don't know how that happened with him either. I think he lives in southern North Carolina now. And he's my age, so he would have been deciding what his favorite football team is way before there was such thing as the Carolina Panthers. But I told him we just got a shipment from them the other day, and I was like, you know what, dude? I got to be honest with you. It makes me so happy that the roles have reversed. For a decade, the Cowboys were always good, and the Redskins Commanders were always the laughingstock of the league, right there with the Browns and the Dolphins. And hey, Dolphins fans and Brown fans, you can be mad at me for saying that, but I was one of you for the longest time, for 10 years. Hey. But now finally, it's reversed. Pardon my language. The Cowboys are a shit show now, and my team was one game away. Yeah, they got their butts kicked, but they were one game away from the Super Bowl. Did anybody really think they were going to beat the Eagles? No, I had no confidence. Eagles, as hard as it is for me to say, they're a great team. They deserved to win. They deserved to win against the Commanders, and they deserved to win the Super Bowl. Congrats. Congrats to the team, but not the fans because y'all are jerks. Loke Newkirk. Hey, John, I'm going to order some peacocks online and saw that some have option of F1 next to their names. What is that exactly? What do you suggest? F1 means first generation. So they acquire fish from the lake. Those fish that are acquired from the lake breed. The offspring from them is F1. And then when that batch reproduces, that would be F2, F3, but nobody talks about that. They just talk about F1 as being the, one step away from the wild species. So that's what F1 means. And a lot of places will charge a little bit of a premium for F1. And it's basically because, what are you getting into now? Hey, don't make me regret bringing you in here. I'm serious. Don't make me be mad at you. You know what else she does? She won't eat unless I sit there with her. It's really aggravating. But with the fish being F1 and the farm having enough control to know where these fry have come from and know that they're first generation, there was no possibility of any crossing or anything weird happening, or you know what I'm saying? So it does make them more valuable. If you're one of those purists, I personally, a pretty fish is a pretty fish. I don't care if it's a hybrid. I don't care. To me, F1, not a big deal. But I totally understand why they charge a premium for those, and I certainly understand why there should be a premium on those. It's not something that's important to me, though. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. If you have fish A is an F1 and it's $40 for one fish, and fish B is not an F1, same fish, and it's $35, I'd pay the extra $5, get the F1. Why not? I mean, especially if you want to breed them. If you don't care about breeding them, who cares? Just get whatever. Cheap as possible, as long as you're getting the fish you want. Dennis with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Dennis. I'm going to say it because I say it every week. Dennis coming in and doing what Dennis does. JR with the gifted memberships. So many people in a gifting mood today. I appreciate it very much as I make sure. All right. She's chewing on that piece of driftwood again. And with my luck, Lisa's going to be like, I had that. It was going to be for escape. Why did you let her do that? Anyway. All right. Y'all ready? Play that song. If you're not aware, how did we get 430 people in here all of a sudden? KG Tropicals and King of DIY live videos in one day. Ha! Did Joey do a live stream today? Or no, did he do a premiere? I don't know. A bag, these are all 250 gram bags. Arowana, feed this to any of your large fish. Or any fish. It's not like it's going to kill small fish. They're just going to have a hard time eating it because it's big. An expired bag of tropical sticks. Don't worry about the fact that it's expired. Look, you see that little notch there? That's the notch in the bag showing that it has never been opened. It is a sealed bag, still good to go. No worries about the expiration date. And jumbo fish. Why don't you just give us a fresh bag, John? Because this was sitting right here. That's why. So if you don't want the expired bag, then throw it away. Don't throw it away. Give it to somebody who isn't a snob. Because if you don't feed that, you're a snob. That food is not good enough for my fish. How dare you send me a expired bag? Anyway, all right. So the way this works, all I do is I click a button and it says, the button quite literally says, choose a winner. Nightbot picks the winner, and then it says it in the chat. I have nothing to do with this. You can set parameters. I don't do any of that. The only thing I have set is that you be active within the last 15 minutes to enter the giveaway. And the only other one that I put a stipulation on is that you have to live in the United States, because it costs way too much money to ship food overseas or even into Canada. And if I was shipping this to you in Canada, well, that's kind of dumb because it's already in Canada. It's kind of weird to send it here and then back. Like, our countries have made way too much money off that food at that point. So live in the United States, be active in the chat, and B, I'm clicking choose a winner right now. No, that is not possible. That happened. And there's no way it doesn't look like it was rigged. Didn't Rev Coon super chat or something earlier? And I said something about that? No. Something was said by Rev Coon. That's so funny. I said that's really funny. But you see it. It picked Rev Coon, not me. So I don't remember what I said. I will have to go back and see what it was that I said. But I said something, being a repeat customer. That's right. Yeah, that's hilarious. I swear to you, that was not planned. You saw it, didn't you? It was right there. Did Nightbot say something? Yep. Congratulations, RevCoon. You won the giveaway. All right, I'm going to do something here to show you, because I don't need drama. Oh, no. Can't do that. Well, okay. I don't know how to show it to you. For some reason, I have to allow access to the software to my desktop in order to share my desktop with you. And in order to do that, I was going to have to shut down the software and restart it. I'm not doing that. Where is my shrimp pellet container? What do you mean? Although I do need to send out a thank you, and I don't have this physically to show you. And if I'm just being brutally honest with you, it's because I forgot. We received a couple of packages in the mail the other day to our P.O. box. And one was from Lisa Marie, not the Lisa Marie that I'm married to. No, she didn't send us gifts. It was another Lisa Marie that sent me some goodies a while back that was 3D printed Harry Potter sculptures. And she has refined her skills and started painting the parts and all of these things. And it's so cool. She sent me a mirror of Aeroset, a golden snitch, a sorting hat, a Whomping Willow, and a Severus Snape wand in a little Severus Snape Ollivanders box. It's the coolest thing ever. And then and a Mandrake too. And she sent Lisa some little pots and all of these things. It's so cool. And I was telling her when we were opening those up, it's not Lisa Marie Presley. That would be weird. But I was telling her, like, we need to get a 3D printer because this is so cool. Like, how fun is this that you can make this stuff? It's so neat. And I also see a lot of people making 3D printed stuff for woodworking too, which is really neat, but I don't know how to do all that stuff, but those things do look really cool. Again, Money Pit channel. Did I have it in the description? I don't know if I did. I should have. It should be in the description. Let me check because I reused the same settings. Yep. The link to my second channel and Lisa's second channel, Roots and Whiskers, are both there at the top of the description. If you are interested in home renovation, remodeling, stuff like that, that's what my channel's about. I uploaded my first, I really say it's my first video. It's not, it's my fourth, but the first three don't count. I uploaded a video last week of the start of my kitchen remodel. And let me just tell you, part 2, which is building the cabinets, that video is going to be really good. I am so very much enjoying making that video. And I got to tell you, I did something in that video that is going to make everyone laugh. If you don't laugh, we could probably not be friends. And I'm going to tell you what it is, because it's a movie clip and it sounds like this. That's a huge bitch. And if you know, you know. One of the funniest scenes that has ever been in a movie. And I found the perfect spot for that in this video for the Money Pit channel that is going to, I don't know when it's going to go up, probably next week, because it is going to be about a 30-minute long video and it is a lot. So, but that's Deuce Bigelow. That's right. Hey, keep it in the circus. I love that scene so much. It's so mean, but so funny. And, yeah, that's a huge bit. That happens in the very beginning of the video. I cannot see that without laughing out loud. Like, when I hear it, I laugh. When I see it, I laugh even harder. It's the best. So, yeah, you got that coming up in the Money Pit episode 2. Bo Skaggs. Hey, John, I recently got a used 210, which is 60 by 30 by 30. Very nice. One of my Oscars is partially prone to getting bullied, particularly prone to getting bullied, so has lived his whole life in a planted 125 with angels very happily. Do you think a 210 would be a good forever home for Bo? My guy. That would be the best permanent home for that fish, forever home for that. And I got to tell you, I would love to create little medals to give away to people when I hear them say something like that. Like, I've got a 210 and I got it for my Oscar because I want my Oscar to have a good life. I'd like to be able to say, here's a medal. You deserve a medal. That is beautiful, Bo. And you and I could be very good friends, because there are way too many Oscars in 29-gallon tanks, 55s, which, 55s, that's not exactly animal cruelty, but, so to hear a 210, like, that's wonderful. Good on you. I'd love to know how you got them to not eat the plants, though. I'd love to know what kind of trick you used there, what kind of sorcery you have involved there, because I've never been able to have an Oscar not just annihilate plants. So much that I've never even, it's like not even an option anymore. And I would tell anyone and everyone who is considering Oscars, don't even think about plants. They're just not, it's just not an option. Tim Russell found my 55 leaking today and then it broke. Yeah, that is a surefire sign that a problem is coming. And sometimes when you see that leak, it's too late. Sometimes you see the leak and it's like, oh, I better do something about it. Boom, too late. Sorry to hear that. That is a nightmare. That sucks. I've been very fortunate. I am knocking on this Scandinavian wood right here because I've been very fortunate. I have not had that happen. And I know it's all luck. We've had, let me see. We had, I think, one tank leak when we had our shop, and it was in an area. All right, I have to explain this properly. We bought our tanks. We bought 500 tanks from a fish farm that went down. And they sat for 7 years. Dry as a bone, all crusty and white. It was a nightmare. We bought them for super cheap, though. This was in Knoxville, Tennessee in 2013, maybe 12. The way some of these, okay, the majority of the 20, they were 20 longs, had a 1-inch PVC that came up through the bottom of the tank. These were obviously old tanks before they were all tempered glass on the bottoms. And it came up through the bottom, and they had like watertight bulkheads on the bottom. So that was fine. But then they had a whole mess of these tanks that had it was like a 1/2-inch pipe. Might have even been 3/8 pipe. Little plumbing pipes with a cone-shaped rubber grommet on the bottom. And the tanks had a small, like 1/2-inch hole. And all they did was plunge that angled rubber grommet down into that hole. And that was the water seal. And we had one of those leak. I didn't even count that because that wasn't the tank's fault. That was the stupid way that they were doing all of that. So that wasn't the tank's fault. I don't know what, I know what they were thinking. The way this fish farm was run, they had all the tanks up on cinder blocks and then quite literally had gutters like you would have on the side of your house that ran full down the whole span. And they had those little plugs on top of it. So if they leaked, so what? It was going right down into that gutter and going down into the sump and then getting recirculated back up again. So it's actually a pretty genius system for what they were doing. But this was in an old barn out in the middle of a farm in Tennessee. It was a fish farm, or they might have just been a distributor or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what they were, but, let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, Lisa was on the phone. Very important. Everybody's fine. Very important thing happened in our family today. And so she was talking to one of our daughters. It's all good. Don't worry. Nobody's sick. Nobody, it's nothing like that. It's not good, but it's nothing to be concerned about. We're all fine here. I don't, Buendia. I'm really bad. I'm sorry. Buendia Solutions? Sounds like somebody that struggles with their R's saying the word Brenda. Buenda? But Buendia, I hope I'm saying that right. I created plant anchors for my cichlid tank. Well, hey, there you go. I still don't know if that's going to protect them against Oscars, because Oscars will just tear the plant up. But I'm sure there's plenty of cichlids that would work on. So there you go. That's good. I mean, yes, Oscars are a cichlid. Who was it earlier? Bo Skaggs, the only person I've ever known to keep plants with Oscars. I suppose you could do it if you have, and I'm not talking about Buendia Solutions. I'm not being critical of you. I don't mean to say it this way, but for Oscars, if you were to have like Echinodorus back behind some rocks and all that's coming up is some of the leaves, maybe to where the Oscar, I don't know, maybe you could pull it off that way. Yes, it's Buendia. Okay, good. I hate mispronouncing things. 3D printers for the wind. There must be a lot of people that are far behind on the old delay here. But yeah, I mean, Oscars, plants, it's just something I have avoided altogether. And Jill Eugenia, welcome to the team. New, brand spanking new channel member. Got that green badge. Welcome. Lisa is in the chat. She said she's lurking. So listen, this is what I need everybody to do. I need everybody to start saying hi to Lisa in the chat and make her feel guilty. And then she'll have to say something back. Joshua Hockman, it won't let me purchase a membership. Well, that's because you've already got one. How do I know that? Because your name is green and you have that badge next to your name, unless you're trying to do a gifted one. I got to be honest, I'm not even sure how that works. So I can't really help you there, but that's, is that Budweiser you're drinking? How dare you? Caffeine-free Coca-Cola. I know I look like I'm a beer drinker, but I'm not. I haven't put a sip of beer in my mouth since I was like 21. And you think I'm kidding. I'm not. I think it's gross. And I don't like anything that makes me lose control. I think I'm just going to stick with my stock tank with goldfish and my 5-gallon beta tank for now. I've invested far too much in that 55 to push the issue further. Is that the 55 that was on that stand? Uh-oh. I'm not saying it's your fault. There she is. There's Lisa. Thank you. John isn't cool enough to drink beer. I'm plenty cool to drink beer. How dare you? But I just don't want to because it doesn't do it for me. And back before I met Lisa, thank God I met her because I'd still be single to this day. You want to know why? I'm not trying to be insulting to any of the women that are watching this right now. But I've never been a go to the bar guy. But if I was at a social event, because one of my friends that don't exist was like, hey, come to this event because there's going to be a lot of single babes there. I'm old. I said babes. This is the honest truth. If I was there scoping out the babes, it was me, Napoleon, and Kip. And Kip had been chatting with babes all night. If I'm looking out into the pool of single babes, the first thing that would get you off my list is the one sitting there holding a beer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was a massive turnoff for me. Doesn't matter now because I'm not single. Thank God. It's like I said, I still would be if it wasn't for that day, February 28th, in her driveway. Because if it's a turnoff for you to see a woman holding a beer, good luck. Thought it was Bud too until I remembered you don't drink. Yeah. Caffeine-free Coke. I have to have caffeine-free. Otherwise, I won't sleep at night. And I like to sleep at night. I kept my Oscar nerves with floating wide-leaved water spray. So that is interesting, Alex Kumanoff, because every time I've ever tried plants with Oscars, even plastic plants, I would always come in the room and the plants would be floating. Excuse me. Hello, ma'am? Ma'am. Reacher. Come here. The plants would be floating, and since they were floating, the fish would be leaving them alone. Okay. Oh! She's like 45 pounds. So maybe the trick, Alec Kumanoff, excuse me, is you just have to have them floating, and then they don't bother them. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I love you too. I know. It's a wonderful life, isn't it? You're so spoiled. I know. Now you messed up my chat. Oh, Reacher dog. Oh, my goodness. Oh, good Lord. Speaking of Reacher, season 3, episode 4 came out today, didn't it? Oh, come on now. Oh, you're about as strong as Jack Reacher. Good Lord. Okay, I'm caught. I was a really good drinker. I could have gone pro, but I didn't realize you didn't get sponsored until you quit. Okay. Caffeine. Okay. Why is the chat all of a sudden going? I guess I had a little bit of a pause there. I'm about to tear down 4 of 8 tanks. This hobby is killing me. You know what? You're doing the right thing. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but if it's that bad for you, where you think it's killing you, yes, you're doing the right thing. You're not bailing out completely. That's good. So yeah, good on you. You're doing the right thing. Stay in, pick your 4 best ones and just keep those. Look at you. Ha ha. She is a mess. This is like a playground for her because she's looking around at at all the fish, and then she's rubbing her face on my face. Excuse me. Excuse me. I love you too. You're welcome. Stop. Good Lord. I had a chat with Bob Steenfott the other day. He didn't even know about her. Some friend he is. Made me feel less bad that I didn't even know he had had a kid. It was 2 weeks later. I feel bad about that. Everybody congratulate Bob Steenfott for becoming a father. That's a beautiful thing. When I spoke to him, I didn't speak to him, but when I texted with him, he said, Mom and baby are doing well. So I'm glad to hear that. I knew she was pregnant. Of course I did, but I didn't know that she had had the baby until baby was already ready, almost time to graduate high school is when I finally found out. All right. So we got Primetime Aquatics coming up in 20 minutes, and now my face is all itchy. Oh, that's going to feel really good later. The books are great. Yes, they absolutely are. Reacher Season 3 is I've only seen the first 3 episodes because that's all that's come out yet. And it's way better than Season 2 so far. Why is this happening? All of a sudden the chat just starts moving. It's really weird. Have y'all noticed any weirdness happening with the signal today? Maybe it's the signal coming in. Above ground outdoor pond, any good ideas? Of what? Fish? I'm going to need more information, Big Ferris. I'm going to need more information. Where do you live? What's the average temperature? How deep is it? That's the only way I'm going to be able to give you any good fish recommendations, because naturally I'm going to go koi goldfish. You could put a reacher in one. Hey, what are you getting to? Excuse me. Oh, geez, that hoser's growling, eh? Hey, what are you eating? You buffered a couple times on my end. Okay. Anyone that can tell me what movie that came from, I will give you bonus points. And she's too far away now. It's cranking the tail and saying, oh, geez, that hoser's growling, eh? What's that from? Reacher is sure pretty and lovable. Are you talking about the guy or the dog? Because she definitely is. No, she absolutely is. She is a sweetheart. I think the wind is affecting the internet somehow. Ah, that could be it. It's buffered a few times for me, but the wind is howling outside. We're still trying to reach you about your truck warranty. What? I don't get it. A lot of people have been having issues streaming on this app since the weather has been funky. Okay. You know what? We pay like $80 a month just for internet, just for this building. So internet problems in this building are unacceptable. It says excellent connection on my end, but I've also seen the numbers doing what they used to do back when I was on the Elon Musk internet, and that usually means bad signal. People are going in and out, and that really bothers me. Like right now, chat's not moving at all. Maybe it's because nobody's saying anything. It makes it kind of hard to okay, see, wait a minute. Okay, the chat, oh, this is weird. The chat on Nightbot is current. But the chat on the YouTube app was frozen. So I can go back and see what we've got going on here. Robert Zirkelback. Need a little bit more information. I don't know what you're talking about with my truck warranty. Weird. Super Troopers. No. Kenneth Johnson got it. Strange Brew. Mr. Skippity Doodah got it. Take off, eh? Strange Brew. The best movie that's ever been made. That's what that movie was from. Fargo. No. Not a terrible answer, though, because they do have that don't you know accent in that movie. If you're talking about the movie, the show, I only watched, I think, the first season, and then I didn't watch any more. Not because it wasn't good, but I just didn't watch it. No way, eh? I would kiss you, but I have puke breath. He drank the whole thing. That movie is a 10 out of 10. Does anyone still sell African butterfly fish? I can't find one anywhere in America at this point. I've seen them. I don't remember where, and I don't remember when. It could have been 20 years ago, but to me it sounds like seems like it was yesterday. That's just kind of how my life works right now. I think that was a joke about truck warranty when seen earlier. Did I say anything about a truck warranty? I don't know. I'm confused. Oh, God, I'm your father, you knob. That I still have to find it. I was in an antique store one day shopping for Christmas gifts for Lisa, and I found a Great White North action figure set. It's the best. It's got Bob and Doug sitting there with all of their gear on, and there's a bunch of little beer bottles around and donuts, and it's the coolest thing ever. And for some reason, I don't know where it is. I haven't seen it since I moved. It's got a million little pieces. I had to pack it away in a little box, and I really hope I didn't lose it, because that was really cool. And it was a rare find. I'd never seen it anywhere before. I think I paid like $10 for it. All right. Hey, John, I've messaged Lisa on Instagram with pics of my chihuahuas for you and our kittens for both of you. That's good. I am a Chihuahua fan. Mine are rotten, but I love them. I shouldn't even call them mine. One of them's Lisa's. The story is, I went there to get they had one puppy. I went there to get the puppy. But then I saw this male that was 5 months old, and I was drawn to him. I don't know what it was. Just the way he came to me, and he was so lovable, and he was so awesome. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take him. And then Lisa was like, well, I'm taking the puppy female then. So we ended up with 2 dogs. And how do I get to it? I don't even know. When you're an Apple person, well, that's him. That's my male. And then the female, I don't know how to change this. No, not that. I've shown them before. When you're an Apple user, how do you change the wallpaper? It just happens to me sometimes when I'm not trying to make it happen. I look down and I've got all these options for my wallpaper. But anyway, I'm not going to waste any time with that. The female, they're brother and sister, half brother and sister. I thought you had something in your mouth that you weren't supposed to have in your mouth. Okay. So we're to this point now where I don't have anything left to talk about. So we got 12 minutes left. So I have to do the thing that I despise seeing other YouTubers do, which is look for things to talk about in the chat. I'm a week late, but RIP to the best Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman. Definitely RIP to the man. Not the best Lex Luthor. Nope. But I was a very big fan, and still am a very big fan of Gene Hackman, the actor. Mississippi Burning. I said it last week. That is Gene Hackman at his finest. That is superb. Thanks for leaving me that one. Oh. Okay. See, that's why I don't like reading the chat, because y'all are chatting with each other, which is great. But then I read it, and Live Aquaria has aquarium butterfly fish. There you go. Now you know. I own those action figures. I need to find mine. I wish I knew where they are. The action figures are $100 for the pair. I'll trade you for some plants. No, I have the set somewhere. The irony is that skit was a joke response to Canada wanting more Canadian content. I know. Those guys are geniuses. And I think Rick Moranis is someone that a lot of people make fun of. But I think he's someone that should be admired for what he did. Because, I mean, you ever wonder, where did he go? He did Parenthood, and he did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He did that whole series, and I knew him from Strange Brew. And, of course, he did Ghostbusters. And then all of a sudden, poof, he's gone. He retired. Who's the other actress that did this recently? Is it, what's her name? Cameron Diaz, I believe, is the one that did this recently. Was just like, you know what? I've had enough. I want to be with my kids. I want to raise my kids. I don't want to mess with these crazy people in Hollywood anymore. And he just quit. Jonathan Taylor Thomas is another one that did that. I admire that. I admire people who are willing to do that because Rick Moranis is a guy that had that quirky look. And how could I forget Meatballs and Stripes? Come on. Rick Moranis was always going to have work. He was in the 80s what like Jesse Eisenberg is now, or McLovin, you know, always playing that dorky nerd guy. He was perfect for that. And he was just like, no, I've had enough. He probably made a ton of money from like Ghostbusters, and I'm sure he didn't make much money for Stripes and stuff like that. But the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series, I'm sure. I said Meatballs. I meant Spaceballs. My bad. I'm sure he made a fortune from the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series. And he was just like, that's it. That's enough. I have always wondered, when is enough enough? I'm going to let y'all in on a little spoiler here when it comes to the Money Pit channel. And I actually announced this in the next video that's coming out. I've already done the voiceover for it. It's in there. That channel, I will never take a sponsor or a free tool. Who knows if anyone would ever offer any, but I'll say no to all of them. Now, Nathan, that's just mean. I can't be the nerdy guy. It's just mean. Nathan, you and I we're not friends because that's just cruel. But no, my channel, the Money Pit channel, is just getting started. It has hardly any traction at all yet. I'm only doing it to document the renovation of my house. And to that channel now is kind of like my hobby channel. This one is how I make my living. And, you know, because I'm dependent on it and all of that, if Aqua Decor wants to send me something, okay, cool. That's great. I'm okay with that. If another company wants to send me, okay. But when it comes to that channel, I'm not going to do it, because at 50, I look at life now and I say, when is enough enough? Like, enough is enough. If that channel does really well and starts making money and all of that, the sole purpose of money made from that channel will be to fund projects on the house, not to pay my bills. So I feel like I would be kind of, I don't know. I feel like I would feel weird about taking money, not money from YouTube. Oh, I'll take that. But, you know, a company calls me and is like, we have this, you know, home improvement product. It's great. And we want to send you one. No, thanks. I got the tools I need. I'm good. I mean, but I did make one exception, two exceptions. anyone in the woodworking world or home improvement world will be like, well, yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. If I someday got a shop, whether it's we move keepfishkeeping.com into a warehouse off property somewhere and I take over the barn, or, you know, Lisa decides one day to build me a building that I use as a shop, whatever it is, if I was to have a shop and Delta called and said, you know what, we want to send you one of our unisaws because we like what you're doing, that I would take, because it's a unisaw. But if SawStop called, no thanks. It's not because I don't think the SawStop is good. It's great, and that's really cool. There's so many hot dogs that haven't been damaged from those blades. I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, look it up. Even if you're not interested in woodworking, what a SawStop can do is incredible, but I don't want one. I want a unisaw. Why? Because that's what Norm Abram used in the New Yankee Workshop. I'll admit it. That man walks on water to me. And that's what he used. It wasn't his, it was his producers. But Russ Morash is the guy that owned, I'm kind of a New Yankee Workshop geek. He's the one that owned that unisaw, but that's what Norm used. And so that's what I want. But also because the unisaw is the best saw in the world. And it's like $3,500. So if Delta called and said, we'd really like to see one of our unisaws in your brand new shop that your wife just built for you, that I would take. Or if you already missed the giveaway, Daniel, sorry. If James Hardy, not James Harden, the basketball player, although that would be cool if he called. If James Hardy called me up and said, you know, John, it's a disgrace that your 1830 house has vinyl siding on it. We'd like to send you a full house of siding for your house. That I will take, because that would be like 30 grand. Other than that, why is everybody asking about the giveaway? I did it like an hour ago. Come on, y'all. It's not always at the end. You got to watch the whole time. That's when, if you don't watch, you don't know when it's going to happen. New Yankee Workshop and Norm will forever be some of my fondest memories. You and me both, Robert. I grew up on that show. I learned what I know about woodworking from that show. I watch that show now on YouTube. If you're not familiar, the producer who owned the New Yankee Workshop, the shop was in his backyard. His name was Russell Morash. I gave away these. He passed away last year, I believe. But before he passed away, he made the decision that he wanted to put every single episode that was ever created of the New Yankee Workshop on YouTube for free. So New Yankee Workshop is the channel. Norm is the avatar, and they're all there. Every single one of them. I watch them all the time. So yeah, that is my worship service right there. That's my favorite thing in the world. So a Delta Unisaw, that's what I want. So Delta, you want to sponsor a channel with 1,400 subscribers? Come on. Don't do it now, because I wouldn't even have anywhere to put it. It would just sit there somewhere. But when I get a shop someday, you call, I'll be the guy. So anyway, folks, listen, everybody's talking about the giveaway. I'm sorry. If you want to be the recipient, the possible recipient, you're right, Seashell. I'm sorry. That's a good point. Rick Moranis quit because his wife passed away and he wanted to make sure his kids didn't feel abandoned by him. Yes, you're right. Thank you for mentioning that. That makes it even more impactful. That kind of makes my point for me. The dude could have kept on going and made $100 million, but his kids were more important. And I forgot about the part that his wife had passed away. That makes it even more special. So yeah, good for him. I would like to meet him and I'd like to shake his hand, because Strange Brew, Ghostbusters, give me a break. Come on. Anyway, Jason and Joanna are now live, folks, and Reacher is driving me crazy. Yeah, Lisa, you didn't know that, but Reacher's in here with me. And I think she's been a good girl. But Jason and Joanna are live now, and they're going to have probably a whole lot more entertaining show than I had for you tonight. Thank you for hanging in there with me, even though there were some internet issues tonight. That's very frustrating. It's my worst nightmare, but it was a lot of fun nonetheless. And Rev Kuhn, if you haven't already done it, email me about this, kgtropicals@gmail.com. I'll get your information. You're a frequent customer, but I don't know your name, so I don't know who to look up. So email me and just give me your name. I can look up your address and all that through the website. No problem. Congratulations on the win. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Everybody, don't do anything. Just stay where you're at. And I personally will send you all over to Jason and Joanna's live stream. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next week.